The movie begins with a young woman named Jen, who wakes up and finds herself on the shore of an island. She is confused about how she got there and quickly runs inland. While trying to understand what is happening, she sees her friend Brad lying on the nearby beach. She decides to find water for him and goes deeper into the island. After searching around, she finds a coconut filled with water. She picks up a stone, cracks the coconut open, and brings it back to Brad, pouring the coconut water into his mouth. Suddenly, she notices that the color has drained from his face. She calls his name again and again, but no matter how hard she tries, Brad does not respond. Realizing that her friend is dead, Jen breaks down. Jen starts walking around the island to see whether anyone lives there. After circling the shoreline, she realizes that the island is completely isolated. She then enters the dense jungle and finds a bag hanging from a tree and a cooler lying nearby. This makes her think that someone else had once been stranded on the island before her. Nervously, she looks around and calls out for help, but nobody answers. When she opens the bag, she finds it covered in dust, showing that it has been there for a very long time. Inside, she finds a medicine bottle from 1994. That destroys any hope she had of being rescued by whoever owned it, because if someone used that medicine in 1994, they have either long since escaped the island or died there. She checks the cooler and finds old cola bottles. After looking through the belongings carefully, she also finds video games, which makes it clear that a family was once stranded there. Disappointed, Jen leaves the campsite and returns to the shore. While looking around, she hears strange sounds coming from a hollow tree trunk nearby. She investigates and discovers that the sound is being made by a tropical bird. That gives her the idea of using the hollow trunk as a place to sleep for the night. She goes back to her friend and feels pity for him. To honor his death, she covers his body with leaves. As the sun begins to set, rain starts falling. Jen hides under the trees and uses a life jacket to cover herself. The next day, when she wakes up, she sees several dead fish lying on the beach and picks them up as food. Later, she opens her backpack and takes out her diary, but when she checks it, she finds that the ink has completely blurred. She removes her bookmark and sees a picture of her boyfriend. Missing him deeply, she wonders what might have happened to him during the shipwreck. Jen goes back into the jungle and discovers a patch of empty ground. In the middle of it, she finds 3 graves. Terrified, she runs back to the beach. Once there, she sees Brad's body decaying on the sand. She digs a grave for him and buries him properly, marking it with a stick, bearing the letter B. The next day, while walking around the island, she comes across a horrifying sight. Brad's body, which she herself buried, has been dug up, mutilated, and dragged away by something. Jen is horrified and runs from the scene. To defend herself from whatever animal might be on the island, she begins making a wooden spear-like weapon. She waits in a defensive position for a long time, but no creature appears. Evening comes, then night, but nothing attacks her. The next day, Jen goes to the shore and notices something in the sea. She sees the light of a flare falling toward the water, and then a humanoid monster emerges from the ocean. Fear fills her instantly. She grabs her weapon and runs into the jungle to hide. As heavy footsteps approach the forest, she trembles in terror. She remains hidden until the footsteps retreat and the monster returns to the sea. The next day, she goes back to the old campsite and looks through the photographs. In one of them, she notices 2 glowing eyes behind the woman in the picture. Frightened, she decides to change her sleeping spot for the night. She sleeps inside the hollow tree trunk with her weapon. During the night, she hears the monster arrive. It begins moving and rolling the trunk, but Jen stays completely silent, so the creature will not discover her hiding place. Eventually, the monster gives up and leaves. The next morning, Jen comes out of the trunk and goes near the shore to catch fish. She uses some smaller fish as bait to catch a small shark. After catching it, she hangs it from a tree for the monster, hoping it will take the shark and leave her alone. That night, she watches the hanging shark but falls asleep. The next morning, she sees something hanging there and runs closer, only to discover that it is her friend Jack, with half of his body torn apart. She hangs Jack's body the same way she hung the shark, and then hides in her shelter. By now, Jen has been stranded on the island for 6 days. She watches Jack's body and waits for the monster to come. Soon, she sees it approach the shore and drag Jack's body back into the water. Suddenly, she hears the sound of an airplane overhead, but she is too afraid to do anything and waits for the monster to leave first. The next day, Jen builds a raised bed high up in the trees so she can stay out of the monster's sight. That night, the weather turns bad and thunder crashes through the sky. Jen lies on her bed, but a sudden flash of lightning startles her. She gets up and sees the monster nearby. Unfortunately, the monster also sees her and walks straight toward her hanging shelter. It starts pulling at the bed, while Jen tries not to make any sound. When the creature yanks harder, Jen jumps down and begins running away. The monster repeatedly tries to catch her, but she manages to stay ahead of it. Suddenly, it leaps in front of her, and Jen uses her weapon to push it away. During the struggle, she injures her leg, but she still manages to drive the creature back. The monster retreats into the sea. The following morning, Jen washes her wound and covers it with cloth. Then she looks toward the ocean and spots a raft boat nearby. She swims out quickly and discovers 2 more survivors from the shipwreck. Jen tells them about Jack's body and explains how the monster dragged him into the sea. After hearing this, Mia and Lucas exchange guilty looks, suggesting that they know something about Jack's death. Jen shows them the photograph of the family who had once been stranded on the island. She wonders that if a monster really lives there, then who buried the 3 members of that family? Mia says that their terrifying journey on the raft after the shipwreck made her feel as if every day might be her last. She tells Jen that she is not mentally ready to go back out into the sea again. Jen still tries to warn them about the danger hiding around them, but Mia refuses to believe in a monster that drags corpses into the water. Jen then goes to Lucas and tries to convince him as well. Lucas, who is also exhausted and traumatized by the sea, refuses to leave the island. Jen argues that they must get away before sunset and head west, because planes seem to fly in that direction. Though reluctant, Lucas finally agrees and tells Jen to get ready. Jen picks up a pocket knife, but when she is about to use it, she notices blood on it. She is shocked, because Mia and Lucas were stranded on a raft, so they should not have had any reason to have bloody knife stains like that. Jen turns around and realizes that Mia and Lucas are hiding something from each other and from her. They suddenly overpower her and drag her across the raft board. Jen struggles as hard as she can, but they manage to restrain her. She notices blood on the floor of the raft. Lucas drags her out, while Mia hits Jen on the head with a raft pole. After some time, Jen regains consciousness and finds that night has already fallen. She looks around and tries to get up. Mia apologizes for hitting her on the head, saying they only tied her up so she would not hurt herself by trying to run again. Even then, Jen insists that they need to hide from the monster. Lucas walks around the island and later meets the girls near their campsite. Smiling, he says that he found no monster in the jungle. Jen sarcastically looks up and tells them that the monster does not come from the jungle. It comes from the sea. Mia finds that amusing and leaves the couple alone to walk on the beach. As Mia walks along the shore, she sees a torn-up fish in the water. She picks it up and becomes frightened. Meanwhile, Jen and Lucas continue arguing. Lucas tells Jen that she is a negative presence in his life, and reminds her of the time on the boat, when he was partying with his friends while she was seen as a burden. He mocks her for being antisocial, and says she is nothing without him. Jen refuses to accept his insults, and begs him to untie her. Lucas keeps mocking her, saying it will not make any difference. Jen tells him again that there is enough food on the island, and they do not need to worry about starving. They only need to worry about the bloodthirsty sea monster. At that very moment, the monster attacks and grabs Mia. Jen panics and begs Lucas to untie her, but he ignores her, picks up a burning stick, and runs toward the creature. He attacks it with fire, but the sea monster does not even flinch. It easily smashes Lucas aside. After several attempts, Jen finally frees herself and runs toward them, but by the time she reaches Lucas, it is already too late. The monster is dragging Mia into the sea. Jen pulls the terrified Lucas into the jungle and hides from the creature, but the monster starts chasing them and attacks again. During the struggle, Jen fights back fiercely until the monster weakens and collapses. She rushes toward it and kills it with her spear. In the end, after finally killing the monster, Jen goes back to the shore to rest. Behind her, the island catches fire, but she does not care. Instead, she uses the flames as a signal for any plane flying nearby. And with that, Jen begins waiting for rescue.